Hi YouTubers, it's SmokeSC again for the, let's see, first for today. So actually today there'll be two videos today. One is with this video for now, and everyone on a Patrick review. So we're going to do two videos today. Now, this is going to be part 43 in my series of How to Smoke a Cigar, part 43. Punch Cigar Cutters Explained. Now we're explaining to you right now, my viewers, what are punch cigar cutters. Now we discussed normal cigar cutters in the last video, such as V cutters, guillotines, normal cigar cutters, etc. Now we're discussing punch cigar cutters. Now, a punch cigar cutter is basically, I don't have one to show you guys, so we're trying to imagine what it looks like, because I don't have a punch cigar cutter. I don't own a punch cigar cutter because I don't find them useful. Basically what they are is, they're about this big, they're very small, and you're basically using it to create a hole in the end of the cigar. Now, quick little story here. A long time ago, 5 years ago, over 5 years ago, I used to use toothpicks to create holes in cigars to smoke through. Most of the machine-made cigars, like the Dutch Masters, the game cigars, have a little hole in them, and at the head of the cigar, and you're sucking through that to draw smoke in your mouth. Now, punch cigar cutters are in the same theory, because instead of cutting off the head of the cigar, the little piece of tobacco that's packed onto place in the cigar, you're basically creating a hole. You're basically punching a little hole into the cigar head and taking it out. So instead of having a big, piece of tobacco you're sucking through, you're just sucking through a little hole. It's kind of hard to explain without showing you guys, because I don't own a punch cigar cutter. I don't find them useful, and I'll tell you why. The pros to punch cigar cutters, I really have no experience with them. I have no experience with them personally, so I guess they're more convenient because you can carry them around on a keychain or something. They're not, bulky, they're not big. But honestly, there's not a lot of pros to them. I mean, I guess some people like a tighter draw. Some people are not a fan of very loose draws because you can overheat the cigar, the cherry of the cigar, and that can create hot smoke. So if you're smoking a cigar that's very loose draw, like a Padron, for example, and you want it to have a tighter draw because you don't want to overheat the cherry, I guess the punch cigar cutters might be good in that case because you're creating a tighter draw and you're less likely to overheat the cherry. But there's a lot of cons. There's a lot of negatives to punch cigar cutters. One is they're not made very well. Let me take that back. Let me just get off a disclaimer. I have absolutely no experience with them. I've never used them before. I mean, from what I've heard, they're not horrible. Probably the cheaper ones aren't made perfectly, so you probably want to get, if you're going to get a punch cigar cutter, you probably want a higher quality one, because you don't want a cheap one that's really cheap and whatever. Also, I don't like tight draw. I like a very loose draw. I would rather take the risk of overheating the cherry than have a really tight draw. Because tight draws are really annoying. It's like you have to go, sucking through it so hard to get any amount of smoke out. Also, I just don't like the idea of punching a hole in the cigar. Not that I would be worried the cigar would fall apart. I'm just not a big fan of that. I would much rather use like a perfect cigar cutter, a Cuban Crafters, or even a V cutter or a guillotine, because that's what I grew up with. I was used to that. That's how I cut my cigars. Now, some people who are used to using punch cutters would say the opposite. I don't know. I mean, it's a personal preference between punch cigar cutters and V cutters, guillotines, perfect cutters, etc. My personal preference is I like the normal cigar cutters, the guillotines, the V cutters, and the Cuban Crafters perfect cutter. Perfect cutter. That's just me. I mean, a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people will be like, oh, you're going to overheat your cigar. Your cigar's going to taste nasty. It's going to be all overheated because you're sucking through too hard. I don't know. It's just my personal preference. It's what I learned how to do. I learned to cut cigars mostly with, or exclusively with, blade cutters. With a blade. Not a knife, but you know what I'm saying, a cutter. So, as opposed to a punch cutter. Or a punch whatever. Anyway, comment, rate, subscribe if you want to. Give me your thoughts. Bye.